What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC 277. We have Amanda Nunes going against Julianna Pena 2.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all that is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out.
And we are back for another full card breakdown and prediction video. This week breaking down a 13-fight card. Pay-per-view card, and I'll be honest, last week UFC London, it felt like on paper it was a pay-per-view card. Absolutely did not deliver. Kind of a very lackluster card, but maybe this card, which on paper does not look amazing, to be honest. Maybe this card, 277, can deliver. The prelims are definitely a little iffy. We have a couple newcomers, but the main card's really good. Looking forward to that main card. But yeah, overall, looking forward to the card. Should be fun and can't wait to talk about it. Before we get started, do have a couple announcements to make. I did a contest last week for the Aspinall and Blades fight. We did the Significant Strike contest. Unfortunately, that fight did end in 15 seconds, but believe it or not, somebody actually got it right. A couple people did. We had 3 guys guess 7 significant strikes, but the first one that did it was KC Perception. Congratulations, KC. If you can hit me up on Twitter or Instagram with your PayPal or Cash App, I will get you your winnings there. And since it is a pay-per-view, we'll be doing another Significant Strike contest for this week. To enter the contest, first, leave a like on the video. Second, subscribe to the channel. And then third, comment down how many Significant Strikes you think that Julianna Pena and Amanda Nunes are going to combine for. Whoever gets it, $25 the first. If there is a tie, the tiebreaker does go to the person that did comment that number first there. So another contest this week. And other than that, be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Best option on there, that $10 betting option. With that, you get access to my UFC stats model. First, notice on all bets, no bets yet, but looking at some my betting article, my betting breakdown video, my Hail Mary parlay. I do a prelim parlay, a main card parlay, a full card parlay as well, access to Discord, and then most importantly, my full card breakdown and best bet article that comes out Wednesday. I basically break down every single fight into detail. I give my best bet for the fight, I give my confidence ratings, and then I put all those down at the bottom as well. And then, yeah, Contender Series is back. I did do a Contender Series video breakdown. I'm going to be doing Contender Series this whole season. I believe we have 8 weeks, so if you guys do like the Contender Series, be on the lookout for that. And then also be on the lookout for my live stream Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on DFS by the Numbers channel here after the weigh-ins, and then also going live for a very special pay-per-view best bet 2 hours prior to when the prelims start. Me and a couple guests, we're going to be breaking down the fights, give our best bet, and then I'll spend the last 30, 45 minutes or so talking with you guys and just getting ready for these fights. So I say we get into it, guys, and I say we start breaking down this card with the first fight of the night. We have Orion Cosce going against Blood Diamond, the return of Blood Diamond. Cosce, he is 28 years old, 5'11" with a 71-inch reach. He is 7-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Blood Diamond, 34 years old, 5'11", 76-inch reach, 3-1, and of course only 3-1 in his 4 professional fights. And let us take a look at the odds like we always do. We see Orion Cosce opened up as a -150 favorite. He is currently -175. Blood Diamond opened up +130. And he is currently +150. This is a striker versus wrestler matchup. We have Cosce, who is the wrestler. He is the brother of Luis Cosce, and they kind of fight similar. They both don't have the best gas tank. I will say that Orion probably has the better gas tank of the two. We have seen Orion go out there and get third-round finishes, so that's good, whereas Luis Cosce, his brother, kind of does fall off after a couple minutes. So I say his cardio is a little better, but still the cardio is definitely a concern here. Blood Diamond, he's buddies with Adesanya. That's probably why he's in the UFC here with only 4 professional fights and not the best level of competition. He comes in there against Jeremiah Wells and gets finished in the very first round. It is a black belt in Jeremiah Wells. We know Jeremiah Wells is a very good fighter, but still, not the best look in the world. But kind of the same matchup here. I mean, Orion Cosce is going to come out here. He's not going to strike with Blood Diamond. There'd be no point in doing that. Blood Diamond is clearly the better striker with that kickboxing background, training with guys like Adesanya. Orion Cosce is going to try to get this fight down to the mat early and often. It's pretty simple. I think Cosce is going to be able to get takedowns. It's just, could he slow down if he does not get Blood Diamond out of there early? And that's kind of my concern here. And that's my concern about laying this price tag on Cosce. If he does not finish Blood Diamond in the very first round, and he does expend a ton of energy like he did in the Rowe fight, this could get very interesting in that second or third round. But I do like what I see from the wrestling of Cosce. I think he is dangerous on the mat. He does have a 100% finish rate. I will say he does finish Blood Diamond in that very first round. But if it gets to the second and the third, I think Blood Diamond will be very live to win this fight. So there's a lot of fights on this card. I know it's a pay-per-view card, but there's a lot of low-level fights, a lot of sketchy fights, and this is one of them, one I'll probably be staying away from. But as far as a pick, I will go with Orion Cosce, and I'll take him to win by first-round submission. All right, moving on, we have, oh boy, Negumereanu going against Ihor, Potieria. We have Ihor, who is 26 years old, 6'3", with a 75-inch reach, 20-2, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Negumereanu, he is 27 years old, 6 foot, with a 78-inch reach, 12-1, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We have Ihor, who opened up as a minus 200 favorite, currently minus 137. Negumereanu opened up plus 170, is currently plus 117. And yeah, I'll be honest, guys, I'm just not impressed with Ihor. I mean, on paper, his record looks phenomenal, right? 20-2, great record. You go and look at his level of competition, and it's just like 2 years ago, where he's going out there and beating like 0-0 guys and 0-2 guys and 0-4 guys. I mean, his level of competition is extremely sketchy. And there's another guy in this card where his level of competition is just horrendous. And, you know, this is the first one here. So the level of competition is not good. He went on there in the Contender Series and got a first-round knockout. But outside of that, I mean, he has a ton of power. But, you know, the technique's not there. He goes in there, he's wild, he's reckless, kind of like Negumereanu. He leaves a lot of openings to be hit. I just not impressed with, crazy as it sounds, a 20-2 guy. But I do think that record is extremely padded. On the flip side, you have Negumereanu which, you know, how can anybody be confident in this guy? This guy has no striking defense whatsoever. I think on paper, thus far in the UFC with a couple fights, it's a 38% striking defense. Ihor's is like 32, but that was just in the Contender Series fight. But yeah, both guys are extremely hittable. Both guys are extremely reckless. Both guys have power and are dangerous. This line does not make a ton of sense to me. Negumereanu has fought the better competition, and it's not even close. And I don't even rate Negumereanu's competition that great. It's just, you know, you take a look at Ihor and just sketchy stuff outside the UFC. So on top of that, I have seen Ihor taken down easily. I've seen him held down. You know, would it shock me if Negumereanu did go that takedown route? No. He has tried to thus far in the UFC. Hasn't had a ton of success, but I feel like Negumereanu could go for takedowns here. And if this fight does get extended, if it does get into the second round, I think that Negumereanu is going to have the better cardio as well. I kind of like Negumereanu here as a dog. Again, it's low level. Like, this is such a low level fight. I know some people are high on Ihor after that Contender Series knockout, but I don't know. I just don't see it. Give me Negumereanu to win. One thing I like about Negumereanu is this guy has a crazy chin. He can eat a shot. You have to eat shots if you have a 38% strike in defense, and he does. So I like his chin. I like his toughness. I like his cardio. I think he's going to grind this one out. I'm going to say Negumereanu wins. I'm going to say he wins by decision. I think the first round could be very sketchy. I think Ihor is definitely going to have his moments, but I think as the fight goes on, that heavily does favor the dog here in Negumereanu, and I'm going to take Negumereanu to win and win by decision. All right, moving on. Does not get much better, but trust me, it does get better very soon here. We have Joselyne Edwards going against Yeon Kim. We have Edwards, 26 years old, 5'8", with a 70-inch reach, 11-4, 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Yeon Kim, 32 years old, 5'7", with a 72-inch reach, 9-5, and 1-4 in her last 5 fights. Let's take a look at the odds here. And Joselyne Edwards opened up as a plus 130 dog, currently minus 134, complete line flip there. Now, Yeon Kim opened up as a minus 150 favorite. She is currently plus 114. So, on UFC stats, I believe, and on Tapology, it says this is at flyweight. And I saw on Twitter, forget who said it, but this fight is going to be at 135. If it was at 125, it just would not make any sense. Joselyne Edwards in her entire career has only fought at 125 once, and Joselyne Edwards is coming in on short notice for it. So for it to be at 125 would just make no sense. So 135 makes more sense to me, and I do expect this fight to be at 135. If it's not, I think you're going to have to pay close attention to those weigh-ins, but I do think it's 135. So get that out of the way there. But yeah, as far as this fight goes, I don't know. It's going to be close. It's going to go either way. Joselyne Edwards, like I said, is coming in on short notice, but you take a look at Edwards and, where does she really struggle throughout her career? And that's when people are taking her down, controlling her. She's been controlled for like over half the time thus far in the UFC, and that's not going to be the case here. Jeon Kim does not go for takedowns. I think these fighters are both going to stand and strike here and on the feet. Jeon Kim, I mean, one thing I'll give her is she does attempt a lot of significant strikes, but she does a ton of missing. Only a 36% striking accuracy, and I even think that's probably a little bit higher than it actually is. You go and watch her, and she is doing a ton of missing, a lot of air punching. Like, even in the Priscilla Cachoeira fight, she landed only at a 45% accuracy, which is still concerning considering Priscilla Cachoeira literally does not have striking defense. So for her to only land 45% of her strikes against Cachoeira is honestly not good. But even like outside of that, like she's landing at like 30% in some fights, like even less in some other fights. And she's just punching a ton of air. Whereas Joselyne Edwards, she does throw a lot of volume in her own right. She does land over 5 significant strikes. We saw her go to the leg kicks in her last fight against Ramona Pascual, and I feel like she does that here. So I bet it comes down to, do you favor the leg kicks of Joselyne Edwards, or do you favor the air punches of Jeon Kim? I'm going to take the leg kicks of Joselyne Edwards, but you never know with the judges. I mean, are they going to favor the air punches that aren't landing? I don't know. But, when Kim does connect, she does connect with power. We'll give her that. And she does look like she's being very active. But again, she's not landing a ton, so I don't like that. I'm going to take Edwards here for the win. No confidence. I'm not betting on this fight. I know I bet on Victoria Leonardo last week, and that I'm not betting on this fight. So give me Edwards to win. Edwards to win by decision, a fight that I really don't want anything to do with. All right, next we have Michael Morales going against Adam Fugitt. We have Morales, 23 years old, 6 foot, with a 79-inch reach, 13-0, obviously 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Adam Fugitt, he is 33 years old, 6'1", with a, don't know the reach there, but he's 8-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We have Michael Morales, who is the biggest favorite on the entire card, opening up -500, currently -650. Huge favorite in Michael Morales. Fugitt, the biggest dog on the card, opening up +385 and currently +425. And wide, it's definitely wide, but Michael Morales, I think this guy has such a high ceiling. It's crazy to me. He's 23 years old, and you go and watch this guy fight, even a couple years ago when he was 20, 21, and you'd think at that age, he'd look green, he'd look a little bit unexperienced, but no, I mean, this guy, he looks good. He checks all the boxes for me. He's very physically strong, great offensive wrestling, great takedown defense, a ton of power in his hands. He showed that off in his last fight, getting the first round knockout against Trevin Giles. Just a very, very good fighter, and he's only 23 years old, which is terrifying. I think this guy's ceiling is very high. He was supposed to fight Ramiz Brahimaj, which was in an interesting matchup. And by the way, he was like -300, -350 in that matchup, which just goes to show you how high people are on Michael Morales, and rightfully so. Adam Fugitt is coming in here on short notice, and it's a tough matchup. It's a very tough matchup, not only to take on short notice, but just to take in general. Fugitt did go out there. I believe that was the last fight. I saw Solomon Renfro. That was 4 months ago. He went out there and knocked out Solomon Renfro. Renfro did fight on the Contender Series. He did lose his fight, but still was able to get a nice win there by knockout. Fugitt does have some wrestling, does have a good ground game as well. I just don't think that's going to come into play here. I'd be really shocked if Fugitt, especially on short notice, was able to take down Morales, and if he does, just hold him down. I just don't see that happening. I think if anything, it's Morales taking Fugitt down to the mat. But on the feet, I don't think Fugitt's striking's terrible, but I really like the striking Morales. I really like the power Morales, and I think Morales kind of runs through Fugitt, to be honest. I think the line, yes, it's wide, but it's really hard to argue, Fugitt winning this fight outside of, maybe landing a knockout shot, which I guess the one thing I don't like about Morales is he is very hittable. Thus far, Morales does have a 36% strike and defense, which, going forward, that could be a concern. And maybe Fugitt does land a big shot, but outside of that, I think Morales has him covered pretty much everywhere. Give me Morales to win. Give me Morales to win by first round knockout. I think he gets it done here. All right, next we have another short notice replacement, and there's like a couple of them on this card. We have Drakkar Klose going against Rafa Garcia. Drakkar Klose, 34 years old, 5'9", with a 70-inch reach, 12-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Rafa Garcia, 27 years old, 5'7", with a 68-inch reach, 14-2 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and Drakkar Klose opening up -185, currently -200. Rafa Garcia opening up +160, and he is currently +170 there. So Yeah, like I said, Garcia is coming in here on short notice. Drakkar Klose was supposed to fight CDF. CDF had to pull out. In steps Rafa Garcia, and I like Rafa Garcia. I think people were really down on him after the Grutzmacher fight and after the Hack Perez fight. He did start off his UFC career 0-2, but he bounced back with 2 wins in a row, which is good. I think it was a dog against Jesse Ronson in his last fight, which is nuts to me, but was able to go out there and submit Jesse Ronson, I believe, in that second round. So good win there for Rafa Garcia, but yeah, this is a big step up of competition for Rafa Garcia, going from, a guy like Jesse Ronson, going from a guy like Chris Grutzmacher, going from a guy like, who's the other one he beat, Natan Levy. So Natan Levy, Ronson, Grutzmacher, to Drakkar Klose, who has fought very good guys, not only fought them, but beat them. Fought Beno Dariush, lost to him, but he beat Christos Giagos. He beat Bobby Green. He beat Lando Venata. He beat Mark Diakese. I mean, he's fought the much better competition here, and it's not even close. And, if Garcia did come in here with a full camp, ready to go, I do think this fight would be very competitive. I like the wrestling of Garcia, but short notice is what terrifies me here for Garcia. A guy that, does slow down, and generally slowed down in the Hack Perez fight. He slowed down massively in the Grutzmacher fight. He slowed down a little bit in the Levy fight, but I will say his cardio looked better in the Levy fight. His cardio did look better in the Ronson fight. So, he's young, he's improving. But short notice against Drakkar Klose, who's just fought at a completely different level. I think it's a tough matchup. Drakkar Klose does have good takedown defense, does have a solid, sneaky submission game, but it's that striking where I think Klose is going to shine here. Klose is going to be the higher volume striker. Rafa Garcia does absorb like 5 significant strikes per minute, only dishing out 3.5. A negative 1.4 significant strike differential for Rafa Garcia, and I think Garcia, at least early on, could have success taking down Drakkar Klose. It's just, will be able to take down Drakkar Klose for 3 rounds. I just lean towards, he won't be able to, especially with the cardio concerns and on short notice. So I like Klose to win here. First round, I think is going to be very competitive, but as the fight goes on, I think Klose starts to take over, and I think he outstrikes Garcia on the feet rounds 2 and rounds 3, and ultimately picks up a decision. I know Klose did finish his last fight. He got his very first UFC finish. That was against Brandon Jenkins. Garcia, 16 fights, never been knocked out. This guy's tough as it comes. So give me Drakkar Klose to win. Drakkar Klose to win this one by decision. Oh boy. We have Dontel Mays going against Hamdy Abdelwahab. We have the Mays is 30 years old, 6'6" with an 81-inch reach, 9-4, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Hamdy Abdelwahab, he is 29 years old, 6'3" with a 73-inch reach, 3-0, and obviously 3-0 in his only 3 fights here. So Hamdy is stepping in on short notice. Dontel Mays, I don't even remember who he was supposed to face, but yeah, Hamdy is stepping in here on short notice, and we see the odds here. Shockingly, Dontel Mays opened up as a plus 100 dog. He's currently minus 160. Hamdy opened up minus 120, and he is currently plus 140. So I talked a little bit about the level of competition earlier of Ihor, Potieria. Hamdy has the worst level of competition I've seen ever. I mean, we talk about, guys like Jordan Wright fighting complete cans outside the UFC. We talk about guys like Giga Chikadze, guys like that. Even guys like Askar Mozarov, who fought Alonzo Menifield last time. We talk about guys like that who just fought the bottom of the barrel. And Hamdy has to have the worst competition I've ever seen in my life. He's an Olympic wrestler, supposedly. And he does have good wrestling. I think he's very strong. He's able to get takedowns, but just the ground game's non-existent. The top control's non-existent. The cardio is very sketchy. I seen him slow down in the first round of a fight. He's going out there. He's knocking out these guys who just aren't good at all, just to be honest. He has some bare knuckle boxing fights, and he's going out there and starching guys and stuff like that, but I just don't think he's UFC caliber, really at all. He has the wrestling. That's the biggest asset of his game, but outside of the wrestling, I don't think the cardio's good. I don't think the striking's good. He has power. I don't think the ground game's good. I think he's really going to struggle here against Dontel Mays, who is huge. 6'6" Dontel Mays, and on paper it says that Hamdy's 6'2", and that is a complete lie. This guy's like 5'10". We'll have to see them face off, but there's no way Hamdy is 6'2". I think he's much smaller than that. So I think Dontel Mays is going to be towering over Hamdy, and honestly, outside of a first round knockout from Hamdy, he lands a big shot. how does he win this fight against Don'Tale Mayes, who, and it's crazy, like, I'm not high on Don'Tale Mayes at all. I don't think he's that great, but, he has fought the better competition by a mile. He's more experienced. He is a purple belt in BJJ. I think that could come into play here. His takedown defense isn't good at all, so maybe Hamdy could take him down, but is he going to hold down Don'Tale Mayes? No, he's not. And is he going to go out there, and is he going to control Don'Tale Mayes for 3 rounds? No, he's not. I do think this fight eventually stays on the feet. Hamdy eventually slows down, and eventually Don'Tale Mayes knocks him out in that 2nd or 3rd round. So I can't believe this is a fight. Man, I mean, it's bad. This is bad, but I like Don'Tale Mayes here. I like Don'Tale Mayes to finish Hamdy Abdelwahab, and I like him to do it in that 2nd or 3rd round by knockout. My goodness, give me Don'Tale Mayes to get it done. All right, and now we get to the good fights. We have Drew Dober going against Rafael Alves. We have Drew Dober, 33 years old, 5'8", with a 70-inch reach, 24-11, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Rafael Alves, 31 years old, 5'8", with a 68-inch reach, 20-10, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Let's take a look at these odds here. We have Drew Dober, who opened up as a -300 favorite. Wow. Currently -193. Rafael Alves opening up +250. He is currently +168. So some money coming in on Alves, and I think that might be because you take a look at Drew Dober, and what does he struggle with throughout his career? The answer to that has been, in the past, the takedown defense, although I think Drew Dober has improved his takedown defense a ton. And on top of that, the submission defense. Drew Dober has been finished 4 times by submission. You see Rafael Alves, he, I believe, he's a black belt in BJJ, tons of submission on his record, and he's very dangerous on the mat. So I see why some people would like to take the shot here on Alves, but some concerning things for me on the Alves side is, in his 2 UFC fights thus far, and I know one ended pretty quickly there, and it was a good win against Mark Diakese. And then one went the full 3 rounds with Ismagulov, which that was a very good win as well. And then also on the Contender Series. In those 3 fights, he has not went for any takedowns. I guess he went for one, was not able to get it. But if he does not wrestle here against Drew Dober, I think he could be in some trouble here. On the feet, like, Alves is dangerous. He has a ton of power. But Drew Dober, this guy's chin is unreal. He can take a shot. He's proven that he can take a shot. Drew Dober's only been knocked down, I think, 1 time his entire career, and that 1 time was against Terrence McKinney in his very last fight. Prior to that, Drew Dober had never been knocked down. So his chin's unreal. His chin is unreal. His recoverability is unreal, but it's that submission defense. So, Alves, if he does go in here and go for takedowns, if he's not able to get them, I think that's going to be a bad news. Alves does slow down as the fight goes on, and it's kind of weird. You take a look at Rafael Alves, and you go look at him outside the UFC. The guy has a weird career. He's been finished 9 times. 9 times out of 10 losses. His only decision loss was against Ismagulov, which was a good loss to have, but you take a look at his losses, he's been knocked out several times. He's been submitted several times. He has retirement losses. He has injury losses. Just not a good thing to have. And I do think he's improved a lot. He's training at a good gym. I think MMA Masters. So I do think he's improved a lot. I think his cardio's improved a lot, but how does he win this fight? I think it's going to have to be by submission. Could he submit Drew Dober? Potentially, but like I said, Drew Dober's been working on it. He's been working on the takedown defense. He's been working on that submission defense, and I think he's improved a lot throughout his career. I like Drew Dober to make this a war. I think this is absolutely going to be a war. I think they're both going to be landing hard shots. I just trust the durability more of Dober. I trust the cardio much more of Dober as well. And I think if they get into a firefight, kind of like I'm expecting, I think Dober does come out with the win and come out with the finish as well. So I like Dober to win. I like Dober to win by 2nd round knockout. I think the 1st round is going to be very competitive. I think Alves will absolutely have his moments. If this fight hits the mat, like, Alves is going to have a serious opportunity. So should it be lying closer? I think so. I think it should be. It's going to be competitive, but I think as the fight goes on, it heavily does favor a guy like Drew Dober, and I trust the chin of Drew Dober to get this one done and get it done by 2nd round knockout. Should be an absolute banger, though. All right, next we have Alex Morono going against Matthew Semelsberger here. We have Semelsberger, 29 years old, 6'1" with a 75-inch reach, 10-3, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Alex Morono, 31 years old, 5'11" with a 72-inch reach, 21-7, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. Matthew Semelsberger opened up -110 pick'em, currently -146. Alex Morono opened up a -110 pick'em. He's currently +126, and I'll be honest, I kind of agree with that opener. I think This is a very competitive fight, a very close fight. And I think Alex Morono is somebody that always just gets very underrated. I mean, this guy's a good fighter. Alex Morono is a black belt in BJJ for what it's worth. His grappling is extremely underrated. We never get to see the grappling, though, and that's always been the problem for me with Alex Morono. This guy's such a great black belt, such a great grappler, that he never uses. He never goes for takedowns. He's gotten 4 takedowns, and those 4 takedowns were in 2 fights. He got Reese McKee down 3 times. He got Pettis down once. Outside of that, he's not going for takedowns. You know, we saw Matthew Semelsberger taken down several times by Fletcher, and Fletcher's a really good wrestler, don't get me wrong, but you know, Semelsberger has a 42% takedown defense. So I feel like Morono should go out here and go for takedowns. It's just not something I can count on, so I'm not counting on it. But if he did, that would absolutely be a plus. On the feet, I think it's a lot closer than people think. Alex Morono, what he does bring is, you know, this guy's a dog. He's going to come forward. He's going to throw a ton of volume, and I think that could give Matthew Semelsberger some trouble. Of course, when you talk about power, that goes to Matthew Semelsberger all day. He knocked out a very, you know, chinny Jason Witt. He knocked down the Sano dude, which probably doesn't belong in the UFC. He has power. He hits very hard. But Alex Morono's in 28 fights. I think he's been knocked out maybe once or twice. Very tough to finish there. He got knocked down by, who was it, Chaos Williams, and then he got knocked down by Nico Price. Like, those are his 2 knockdowns in the UFC. Nico Price and, you know, Chaos Williams. 2 very hard hitters here. So could Semelsberger put him out? Potentially, but I kind of see this getting extended. I kind of see it going to decision, and if it does, I guess my concern for Semelsberger is I feel like he could fall behind in terms of the volume like he did in the Chaos Williams fight. In the Chaos Williams fight, he was just hesitant, not throwing a ton, and maybe that was because he was worried about the power of Williams, and rightfully so. But I know for a fact I can count on the volume of Alex Morono. I know for a fact I can count on him to be there for 15 minutes in Semelsberger's face, throwing a lot of shots. I think the volume will be competitive, if not favoring Morono. I think the harder shots will be coming from Semelsberger. It's a tough fight to call, so that's why I kind of agree with the pick'em here. I like the power of Semelsberger. I like the volume of Moreno. I think I'm going to go with Moreno, though. Like I said, I don't expect him to go for takedowns. If he does, that'd be a bonus. I do expect these guys to strike for 15 minutes, and if they do, I'm going to lean with the volume of Morono. I do think he's going to be landing more here. I like the cardio of Morono as well. I like the toughness, the durability. But Semelsberger has that power, so we'll see what happens. I like Morono to win, though. I like Morono to win by decision, and I think he gets it done here. All right, getting into the main card here, and yeah, this main card's pretty fire. We have Magomed Ankalaev going against Anthony Smith. We have Ankalaev, 30 years old, 6'3", with a 75-inch reach, 17-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Anthony Smith, 34 years old, 6'4", with a 76-inch reach, 36-16 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. Magomed Ankalaev is the second biggest favorite on the wait. He might be the biggest now. He's minus 600 now. Opened up minus 400. He's minus 600. Anthony Smith opened up plus 300. He's now plus 400. So I'll say it right off the bat. I'm not the biggest Ankalaev guy in the world. I know people think he's going to be, future champion and all that, and I kind of think so as well. I think he definitely could be. Just not a big fan of the guy's style, but we can't deny it. He's super good. He's a winner. He's won pretty much every single moment up until the Paul Craig last second flukish submission there. He should be 18-0. Just one more second, he's 18-0 there. But yeah, 17-1. The one loss does come to Paul Craig there. He's a good fighter. He's well-rounded. He has wrestling in his back pocket. He's defensively sound anywhere the fight goes. He has a ton of power. I guess what I don't like about Ankalaev is he does seem to be very low volume at times, and that could be a problem here against Anthony Smith. Just the line's wide, but it's just really hard to see where Anthony Smith gets this done. Like on the feet, yes, Ankalaev is low volume, but he's super powerful. Anthony Smith is super hittable. Anthony Smith, a 42% striking defense. I don't like that for him. And then is Anthony Smith going to take down Ankalaev? I don't think so. Anthony Smith only a 28% takedown accuracy. Ankalaev with an 85% takedown defense. I think if anything, Ankalaev can take Smith down. Smith does have a 48% takedown defense, but Smith is a dog. Smith is an absolute dog. He's going to go for it. He could make this competitive. He really could. He really could. If he's just throwing a ton of volume, just being more active. Like this could look closer than the line does indicate. It's just really hard to see Anthony Smith pulling this off. I'll be rooting for Anthony Smith. I'm not going to have Ankalaev in a parlay, nothing like that. Minus 600 is just nuts for really any fight. But I'm going to take Ankalaev to win. I think on the feet, he's the better striker. The volume scares me, but if he's not liking how it goes on the feet, he should be able to absolutely take down Anthony Smith, maybe do the Rakic game plan where Rakic was able to take down Smith and control him for 3 rounds. I think that's on the table here. But yeah, I think Ankalaev does win this fight. More often than not, does he win it and look like his minus 600 favorite? Probably not, unless there's like an early finish, but I like Ankalaev here to win. I like him to win by, I'll say decision. Anthony Smith's been finished a million times, but Ankalaev's not really a guy that's going out there and, forcing things. I think he's finished only half his wins. And Smith is a very tough fighter. So I don't see Ankalaev submitting Smith. Maybe he can knock him out, but like I said, Smith is as tough as they come. So Ankalaev by decision. All right, next we have Alexandre Pantoja going against Alex Perez. We have Pantoja, 32 years old, 5'8", with a 68-inch reach, 24-5 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Alex Perez, 30 years old, 5'6", with a 65.5-inch reach, 24-6 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Let us take a look at the odds, and we see that Pantoja opened up minus 275, currently minus 163. Alex Perez opened up plus 235. He is currently plus 143. It's been a long layoff for Alex Perez. Alex Perez has not fought in 1 year and 8 months, and he had a lot of fights scheduled throughout that duration of that layoff. Mostly because of his opponents pulling out, but I remember that fight where he did miss weight and the fight got called off. There's a lot of weird stuff going on, but we've not seen Alex Perez in a very long time, which is definitely something to mention. I think Alexandre Pantoja is the most underrated fighter in the flyweight division. Everyone's talking about guys like, Davison Figueiredo and, Kai Kara France, Brandon Moreno, Askar Askarov. I just never see people talking about, Alexandre Pantoja, which is weird because Pantoja has beaten Brandon Moreno not once, but twice, once in the UFC and once on The Ultimate Fighter. And believe it or not, Alexandre Pantoja beat Kai Kara France on The Ultimate Fighter. I know there's a big difference between Ultimate Fighter and the UFC, but still, he's beaten Kai Kara France. He beat him 2 rounds to nothing in The Ultimate Fighter. So I think that's interesting. And then he went into a very competitive fight against Davison Figueiredo, lost that, but very competitive nonetheless. I think this guy can hang with the best of the best. And then you take a look at Alex Perez. He actually has fought for a title, but man, you go back. I know hindsight's 2020, but you go back and look at Alex Perez's run in the UFC. A win over Kevin Gray in the Contender Series. A win over Carlos John de Thomas. A win against Eric Shelton. A win against Jose Torres. A win against Mark De La Rosa. A win against Jordan Espinoza. A win against Jussier Formiga. And then he fights for a title. Out of those wins, the best one is Jussier Formiga, in my opinion. And even that, Formiga's been cut. Formiga's on a 3-fight skid in the UFC. He's been cut as far as I'm concerned. So taking a look at his wins, I don't see any one of his wins that are still in the UFC. Is Jordan Espinoza in the UFC? I don't think so. But yeah, Torres is not there. Shelton's not there. De La Rosa's gone. I know Formiga's gone. I guess maybe Espinoza, if anybody. But even he might be cut as well. So, yeah, kind of got an easy-ish run to the title. And you take a look at his losses. They are good losses. Davison Figueiredo, the champ. And then Joseph Benavidez. So he's losing to good guys. But, man, those wins, I don't know. Whereas Pantoja, like I said, he has beaten Brandon Moreno in the Ultimate Fighter and in the UFC. He has beaten Kai Kara France on the Ultimate Fighter. He has beaten guys like, Matt Schnell, Manel Kopp, Brandon Royval, finishing Brandon Royval by submission. Pantoja is no joke, but this fight, I think it will be close if there's no finish. If it does go the distance, I think it will be close. Perez, very good wrestling. I'm just not sure if he's going to want to go the wrestling route in this fight against Pantoja. Pantoja's a legit black belt. This guy's grappling is next level. And if Perez takes his fight down to the mat, he could be in trouble. Perez, one thing about him is he has been submitted a ton. Perez has been submitted 4 times. And if he goes down to the mat with Pantoja, whether it is Perez taking him down, whether it is Pantoja potentially taking Perez down, Perez could be in some serious trouble if Pantoja takes his back. Pantoja's ground game is no joke. So I don't know if Perez is going to go for takedowns here. And then on the feet, I think it's very competitive. I love the leg kicks from Alex Perez. Pantoja's striking is very good in his own right. I think this is a pretty close fight, but if this fight does hit the mat, I do heavily favor Alex Pantoja. down on the mat there. I'm kind of leaning a Pantoja submission at some point in this fight. Yeah, I'm going to say Pantoja does get that sub. I'm going to say Pantoja does mix in the takedowns as well. You take a look on paper, like Perez's takedown defense is very good, but I think you got to look into it a little bit more and see that Kevin Gray tried to take him down 2 times, was unsuccessful. Carlos John de Thomas was able to not take him down. He was 0 for 2. And then Eric Shelton was 0 for 2 as well. And then the only other person to try to take him down since then was Joseph Benavidez 4 years ago, and Benavidez was 1 for 2. Other than that, nobody's tried to take him down. So I feel like Pantoja can and will go for takedowns, and if he gets a takedown and gets on top, Perez could be in serious trouble. So I like Pantoja here. I like him to win. I like that he's been more active, and I think he finishes Alex Perez here. One other thing I want to mention about Pantoja, and something I really like about him, is the fact that he's so durable. He has, 29 fights. He's never been knocked out. He's never been submitted. I think a Perez submission's off the table. I think if Perez does finish, it's going to have to be by knockout, and that's going to be a very tough thing to do. I mean, not even Davis and Figueiredo can knock out Alexandre Pantoja. This guy has an absolute chin on him. So I like Pantoja to win. I'll say Pantoja wins by second round submission. This fight should be an absolute banger, though. And so should this one. We have Sergei Pavlovich going against Derrick Lewis. Cannot wait for this fight. We have Pavlovich, 30 years old, 6'3" with an 84-inch reach, 15-1, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Derrick Lewis, 37 years old, 6'3" with a 79-inch reach, 26-9, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds, and they should be a near pick'em, and they are in some books, but it looks like Pavlovich opened up -105. He's now -126, taking a lot of money here. Derrick Lewis opening up -115, currently +106, and like I said, I think this fight should be a pick'em. I mean, it all comes down to who lands the big shot first, and we've broken Derrick Lewis fights down a ton at this point, and we know how they go. He's not a minute winner, and he doesn't need to be a minute winner. He has that power. He has the most knockouts in the heavyweight division. This guy is one of the hardest hitters ever. So he doesn't need to win minutes. He doesn't need to throw a lot of volume. He doesn't need to do this and that. He needs to go out there and knock out his opponent, which he's been doing throughout his career. Sergei Pavlovich has been knocked out in his only loss. Overeem did knock him out. It was a TKO. And maybe Derrick Lewis does go to the wrestling here. He did go to the wrestling a little bit against Tai Tuivasa. He actually did take him down. If he can get on top of Pavlovich, I think he could get him out of there that way. But these guys are going to stand and bang, and it's a close fight. Like, you can never count out Derrick Lewis against anybody in the division, ever. But I got to lean Pavlovich for these reasons. Pavlovich is 7 years younger. Pavlovich is going to be huge. He's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. I think that's significant. Pavlovich's high volume lands over 6 significant strikes per minute. That's almost 3 times the amount of Derrick Lewis. So in terms of minute winning, it's Pavlovich all day. Pavlovich has been knocked out, like I said, which, Derrick Lewis can definitely catch him, but I do think Pavlovich is going to be landing more here. And Pavlovich is very powerful in his own right. Like, I went back and watched a good amount of tape on Pavlovich, and he's hurting guys with jabs. Like, he's dangerous. 3 finishes in the UFC, all 3 of them coming in the first round. And I'm going to say he does finish Lewis in the first round as well. I don't think Lewis is the most durable guy in the world. He's been finished a ton. I want to take a look at the exact amount, but in 9 losses, Derrick Lewis has been finished in, I think, 8 of them. Yeah, 8 losses by finish in Derrick Lewis, 6 by knockout. So I don't think he's the most durable guy. And I think Pavlovich does knock him out in the very first round, but I'm not counting out Derrick Lewis, especially Derrick Lewis in his hometown. You can't do it. You can't completely count him out, but in terms of a pick, I'll say Pavlovich catches him. But if somebody's getting knocked out here, somebody's getting knocked out in the first round, and I do lean towards the Pavlovich side to get that first round knockout. All right, next we have the interim flyweight championship. We have Brandon Moreno going against Kai Kara France. Brandon Moreno, 28 years old, 5'7" with a 70-inch reach, 19-6-2, and 3-1-1 in his last 5 fights. Kai Kara France, 29 years old, 5'4", 66.5-inch reach, 24-9, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here, and we see that Moreno is a big favorite, opening up -160, currently -200. Kai Kara France opened up +140. He's currently +170. And this is a rematch. These guys have fought before. I want to get the exact date on it off the top of my head. I want to say around like 2017, 2018. They did fight, it was 2019, December of 2019. So a couple years ago, and in that fight, Brandon Moreno did win. He did win, looks like it was a 30-27 29-28 and a 29-28. It was a pretty competitive fight. I think Kai Kara-France definitely had his moments, but Brandon Moreno was clearly the winner. It was close though. And now they're fighting again a couple years later, and I think both guys have made a ton of improvements here. Brandon Moreno has been fighting Davison the last year or so. He had the first fight, which was a very close fight back in 2020 December. The second fight, which was not a close fight, he kind of ran through Davison there. And then in the third fight, another very close fight where Figgy was able to get the win there. But he has been fighting Figueiredo the last couple fights, and obviously a very tough matchup there. But yeah, I feel like the line it's definitely wide here. Something interesting to note in their first fight. So Brandon Moreno went for 0 takedowns in their first fight, which is interesting. And I wonder if he's going to go for takedowns in this fight because Kai Kara-France obviously is striking his bread and butter. Very good striker, lots of volume, lots of power. Like this guy has a ton of power in his hands. Is he going to try to take down Kai Kara-France? I think he might, but if he does, will he have success? Kai Kara-France, an 86% takedown defense. I kind of have a feeling that, these guys are going to strike for 5 rounds, and if they do, does Brandon Moreno look minus 200? I just don't think so. Kai Kara-France has, like I said, improved a ton. He's in great form, knocking out Rogerio Bontorin, knocking out Cody Garbrandt. That upset win against Askar Askarov where he showed phenomenal takedown defense, stuffing 12 out of 14 takedowns against Askar Askarov. Kai Kara-France is legit. He's higher volume on paper than Brandon Moreno, landing almost 5 significant strikes per minute compared to Brandon Moreno's 3.5. He's the more accurate striker as well. He has the better significant strike differential, 1.33 compared to Moreno, only 0.2. Kai Kara-France has the better striking defense, 65% to Brandon Moreno's 57%. So I'm just saying, like, if they're going to strike for 25 minutes, is Brandon Moreno going to look minus 200? I just don't think so. Brandon Moreno's as tough as they come. He's never been knocked out in, 26, 27 fights. He's never been knocked out, never been submitted. He did get submitted on The Ultimate Fighter, but, professionally, never been knocked out, never been submitted. As tough as they come. But we did see Davison Figueiredo drop him, and he dropped him 3 times in his last fight. Would it shock anybody if, Kai Kara-France landed a knockdown here or there? It wouldn't really shock me. Kai Kara-France hits like a truck, so I think they're gonna go to war. They're gonna throw down. They're gonna do it for 25 minutes, and I think it does go to decision. I think it's extremely close. So I'm gonna take the dog here. I'm gonna take the dog here in Kai Kara-France to edge out a very close and competitive decision. I think it's going to be super close. Could really go either way. But I'm going to take the dog here in Kai Kara-France. I'm going to say he does get it done, gets this done by decision. I think he's going to land some big shots. I think he maybe can hurt Morono here or there. I don't think he finishes Morono. That's nearly impossible to do. But I say it does go the distance. I say it's close, and I'm kind of leaning with the dog here in Kai Kara-France. So give me Kai Kara-France for the upset win, and I think he becomes interim champ. And then I think Davison probably takes care of the next fight. But yeah, give me Kai Kara-France to get it done here and by decision. All right, next we have the main event. We have Julianna Pena, Amanda Nunes, the Bantamweight Championship, the rematch. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if a lot of people are, but I'm looking forward to this fight. I'm a big fan of Amanda Nunes. I like Julianna Pena as well. Should be a good one. We have Amanda Nunes, 34 years old, 5'8" with a 69-inch reach, 21-5 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. Julianna Pena, 33 years old, 5'6" with a 69-inch reach, 11-4 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Amanda Nunes opened up minus 250, currently minus 265. Julianna Pena opened up plus 210. She is currently plus 225. Just to talk about the last fight, Amanda Nunes was like minus 800, minus 900 the last time they fought. So yeah, kind of a big difference here, but we still have Nunes as one of the biggest favorites on the card, and this is a tough matchup for me to break down. You take a look at all the stats, every single one, it favors Amanda Nunes. You watch the tape. Amanda Nunes is better everywhere. She's the better striker. She's better defensively. She's the better wrestler. She's the better grappler. She's the better finisher. She's better everywhere. Where does Julianna Pena beat Amanda Nunes? And the answer to that is I don't really know. But it's more so the narrative, right? Like Amanda Nunes, she's now 34 years old. She has a family. She has a kid. What's her motivation like? And it's kind of a narrative thing for me because I feel like this is such an easy rematch for Nunes, but you go back and watch the first fight, Nunes was just destroying Pena in the first round, making it look easy. It was a walk in the park for Nunes. The second round comes around and Nunes gasses out. She tires, which is weird because we have seen Nunes go 5 rounds multiple times prior to that. And then she made some excuses, like she said she had an injury here, COVID here. So maybe that could have been it, but it was just weird. If Nunes shows up and we get the best version of Nunes, I think she makes this look easy. It's just I don't know if, Nunes, I just question her mentality, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And I'm not betting on this fight. This is a fight that I will be staying away from. A lot of people are going to be taking the Pena dog shot here because she did win the last fight. But if that was a one-off, if Nunes was coming into the fight compromised, injured, with whatever, and if we get the best Nunes here, I think she smokes Julianna Pena. I just don't know if I can trust her. So I'm going to take Nunes here. No doubt about it. Not even overthinking this one. I'm taking Nunes here. It's just, do I really want to lay minus 300 with these question marks? I don't. But I'm going to take Nunes. I think she's, like I said, better everywhere. You take a look at every single stat, every single aspect of the fighting game. Amanda Nunes is the better fighter. It's just Pena has that dog in her. She has that dog in her. She's tough. She's durable. And this fight does get extended. And if Nunes does slow down, like Pena could definitely take advantage and maybe finish her late again. It's just, I think we will get the better version of Amanda Nunes this time around. So it's tough because, does Nunes finish this fight early? I'm kind of leaning towards an early finish here. I'm kind of leaning towards an early first round submission. But man, if this fight does get extended, I do have some serious concerns, but we'll see what happens because Pena did go in there with a great game plan. The game plan was, kind of to fight fire with fire. And we saw Nunes break. So we'll see what happens. I like Nunes as a pick. I'm not betting this fight, but as far as a pick goes, I will take Nunes to win. Just not as confident as I really think I should be. So Nunes for the win. I'll say Nunes first round finish. If it does get out of that first round, second round, third round, I think it does get very interesting. But kind of leading towards that was a one-off performance of Nunes. I think if she shows up, she's motivated, she should smoke Julianna Pena, and that's kind of what I'm leaning towards. So Nunes is the pick. Nunes inside the distance. It should be a very fun fight. But yeah, guys, we did it. Broke down all 13 fights. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, comment down your significant strikes for Nunes and Pena. Doing another giveaway there for the pay-per-view. Be sure to check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Going to be starting to get content out throughout the week. Everything should usually be out on a Wednesday there. And yeah, guys, check out the Contender Series video. Also, check out the MMA Engine, doing a lot of stuff on there. Me and Lou Betcha are doing a betting breakdown video on Mondays for the Contender Series. Me and Uncle Weezy are doing a prop video for UFC on Mondays as well. So just lots of content on YouTube. Make sure you guys check all that out. And yeah, guys, best of luck. Follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns. And best of luck for UFC 277. We'll talk to you guys very soon. See you.